Dear Derry, welcome to Sunday. um, Ravana just left. Now, for those of you who may not know who Ravana is, we did a giveaway um, on the base, Star Citizen Base Radio, a couple of Fridays ago, because Rico was given a couple of tickets to go down to LA to be there for the grand finale of the hang on a second. To be there for the grand finale of the Next Great Starship, which will be ending on June 7th, or at least that's when the finale will take place. Now, he's in, like, Quebec, so he can't go. It's too far away for him to go. But since I'm just a few hours north of LA, and I'm kind of a regular on the base, he's like, why don't you take one of the tickets, and we'll see if we can do a giveaway for someone else to go with you if they can get there. And so, by chance, Ravana wins the ticket, and as it happens, he's right up in Oakland, just north of here. So, and he's got like his dad has a Fit, I think, one of those really hyper fuel efficient cars, which is good because gas prices are going crazy right now. Anyway, so he came by because we figured we should probably meet in person before we take off on a road trip together to go down to LA, and crash in a hotel and get up the next morning and go over to the YouTube studios and represent the base together without ever having met each other. And then of course the whole trip back. So we thought, let's get together, hang out, and we'll make sure that we're not going to kill each other on this trip. So having met him, no problem. No problem at all. We're gonna be fine. But it was a really fun day. We went to Denny's, which I haven't done in a long time, and he had the lumberjack slam, which of course I took in just incredibly perverse ways, as one does. Well, not one, me, as I often do. And then of course I had the ultimate skillet. It's just so good, and you have to get it on a regular plate, not on that cast iron skillet that they send it. Is it still a skillet if you don't get it on the skillet? Because if they bring it to you on the skillet, then things keep cooking while you're trying to eat it, and I don't like that. Because it's like I get my eggs sunny side up because I like a certain moisture content to my food, and the potatoes keep cooking and they keep drying out, and when I cut the eggs open, the yolk goes down and it cooks on the thing. I'm like, no. If I wanted cooked egg yolks, I would have gotten them over medium or over hard, or I would have gotten them scrambled, or something. But I wanted them gooey, so that when I mix them with the potatoes and the peppers and everything, it becomes this hot sticky mess. Anyway, so yeah, we just basically sat around telling each other stories that we could not tell on the base. Would have been highly inappropriate. And of course, he's doing the same thing that Rico's doing. Telling me, oh, you got to get your own show on the base. No, because I talk about Star Citizen stuff on Starcast, and then the very next night I talk about the same Star Citizen stuff on the base with Rico, and now having another show, my show, on Star Citizen Base Radio, it would kind of be required that I talk about Star Citizen stuff, but I've already talked about it twice before. That and the rest of the stuff that has happened in my life, which, when talking to me in person, make really funny anecdotes. Some of them could very well get me arrested. I just, we'll wait for the statute of limitations to wear out, and then maybe I'll talk about it. No. But a part of my problem is that a lot of what I do is best, I don't really do stand-up, because stand-up is not a very easy thing for me to do. And I know that people are like, but you're really funny. It's like, I'm really funny when I'm interacting with people. if I'm doing stand-up where I'm just reciting funny stuff, it's not as, I mean, I can make it funny, but I just don't come up with funny stuff like that. And most of the funny stuff that I come up with in the moment is only funny in the moment. If I try to, tell the story later on, it becomes very much a you had to be there kind of thing very quickly. And it's just not as funny in the retelling of it. Anyway, so met up with him and we were talking about different, things that we want to do, like, with me, the voice acting, and for him also voice acting a little bit, because he wants to do background pilot chatter in combat scenes, and he wants to do death screams, which would be hysterical. Absolutely hysterical. Well, not that death screams are hysterical. They can be. But, the guy who's flying an X-Wing and screaming, I'm all right, as his ship is exploding around him. No, you're not. You are pretty damn far from all right, man. What else? What else was there? When we got back, he was just about to leave, right? He's like, it's like 7:30, and he's like, or it's like almost 7, and he's like, okay, I should know it was before that. I think it was close to 6:30. Yeah, because we were already talking to Rico at 6:30. Anyway, it's not quite even 6:30 yet, and he's like, well, I should probably get going. And we decided to check real quick and see if Rico's on, so that we can just kind of wave and say, look, we met up. And we had already taken a picture of the two of us together. Right back there in my bed. So we, Rico happened to be at his desk, and so we called him, and he's like, oh my God, you guys are both standing right there. And he's like, because I'm a fairly wide individual, and Rico also isn't as wide an individual as I am, but Ravana is much skinnier than I am. So he looks like half my size, when you got us, side by side. So it was very funny. And it just kept spiraling into more and more jokes and stories and just Rico laughing, and oh my God. So it's like now an hour and a half later, and we've been talking to Rico this whole time, and it's like, I'm like, dude, you need to go home. He's like, oh, right, yeah. We weren't gonna actually talk for any period of time. We're just gonna check and see if you were there and say hi and then go. It's like, and that turned into almost 2 hours worth of talking. So yeah, Ravana just left, and I think we're gonna do fine on the trip. It should be okay. We're still not sure what exactly is going to happen when we get down there. I mean, are we supposed to interview people? Are we just supposed to be there to kind of represent one facet of the community while we, watch? What exactly are we supposed to do? I mean, Rico says represent the base. It's like, that's a little vague, Spock. I mean, how exactly do you want us to do that? So, but we'll have t-shirts, and we'll take lots of pictures while we're there, possibly. But if we can manage to interview some folks, I imagine we will. I imagine that before the show, it'd be very difficult to interview anybody because they'd be getting ready for the show. They probably wouldn't want to talk to too many people, for fear that maybe somebody would try to skew someone's, or get a heads up in advance of who might be, maybe a hint as to who the winner might be. So they probably won't be interviewing too many people beforehand. But afterwards, I'm sure there might be time to interview, and we'll have to see. I do not do very well at interviews at all. I know Rico, when I said that earlier today, Rico was like, says the man who came up with the greatest question. I'm like, one good question does not an interview make, It's like, and I wasn't the one interviewing him. I just came up with a question. It was a question for Pedro that was asked in Rico's interview of Pedro. So I came up with a question that I never asked because it was somebody else doing the interview. If that question, or if that interview had been reduced to one question, it would have been a bad interview. I don't interview people well. I just don't. But we've got like 5 weeks until it's gonna happen, so we've got time to think of questions. And the problem is that those questions are going to have to be very, very general until such time as we're in the moment and have more data, as far as, because I mean, what teams are going to be eliminated between now and then? Who's going to be? I mean, whoever is the winner is going to determine a lot of the questions that we ask. So it's going to be a little crazy. Anyway, I'm going to let you guys go because we are closing in on 11 minutes. Yeah, I will talk to you guys tomorrow for Motivational Monday. And until next time, be careless.